Have you ever wondered if a city can possess a soul, or if it is merely a collection of stones fueled by the desperate hunger of millions? Imagine standing at the edge of a harbor, where the salt air of the Atlantic meets the sharp, metallic scent of a rising empire. This is Manhattan in the 1920s, a vertical kingdom built upon bedrock and bravado, where every shadow tells a story of stolen wealth, and every light represents a dream waiting to be extinguished. You're about to embark on a journey through the electric heart of an era that redefined the limits of human ambition, using advanced artificial intelligence to breathe life into the ghosts of the past. If you find yourself captivated by the echoes of history and the relentless march of time, please consider subscribing to our channel to support our exploration of the human experience. The 1920s was a decade of profound contradiction, a period where the traditional world collided violently with the modern age. New York City served as the primary stage for this drama, acting as a magnet for the brilliant, the desperate, and the dangerously ambitious. From the harbor, the skyline appeared as a jagged crown of glass and steel, shimmering with the promise of stock market euphoria and the forbidden allure of bootleg liquor. It was a time of immense wealth for the few, yet millions more remained crowded into tenements, their lives defined by the relentless rhythm of the work week and the heavy toll of inequality. Dominating the lower reaches of the island stood the Woolworth Building, a structure known as the Cathedral of Commerce. Completed in 1913, but reaching its peak of cultural influence in the 1920s, this Gothic masterpiece symbolized the absolute confidence of American capitalism. It was financed entirely in cash by Frank Woolworth, a man who transformed the retail landscape through his 5 and 10-cent stores. When it debuted, it was illuminated by thousands of electric bulbs, casting a divine glow over the financial district and asserting its dominance as the tallest building in the world at that time.
Incredible.
What does the guidebook say about that building?
Visitors to the Woolworth Building were often awestruck by the dizzying elevator rides that whisked them toward the panoramic views of the observation deck. The interior was a temple of marble and gold, where the commerce of a nation was conducted with a sense of religious reverence. Though it would eventually be eclipsed in height by even more ambitious projects, the tower remained a monument to the belief that growth was limitless. It stood as a reminder that in New York, architecture was not just about shelter, but about the manifestation of ego and the accumulation of power.
We're so excited to see it.
Fresh roasted chestnuts. Get your hot chestnuts here.
As the sun dipped below the horizon, the focus of the city shifted northward toward the glowing heart of Times Square. This was the Great White Way, a canyon of light where Broadway blazed with an intensity that turned the darkest night into an artificial day. Hundreds of thousands of electric bulbs created a sensory overload, advertising everything from cigarettes to the latest musical comedies. The streets were a churning sea of humanity, where the scent of roasted chestnuts mingled with the sharp tang of automobile exhaust and the expensive perfume of the elite.
This band is incredible.
I know, right? They sound amazing tonight.
In this theater district, entertainment thrived for those who possessed the wealth to afford the price of admission. Ticket scalpers and hustlers patrolled the sidewalks, feeding off the energy of the crowds that flocked to the lavish revues and vaudeville shows. The scale of the spectacle was unprecedented, reflecting a society that was increasingly obsessed with celebrity and public consumption. Yet beneath the neon glow, there was a frantic quality to the revelry, as if the city sensed that this level of excess could not be sustained forever. Traveling further uptown, one entered the complex cultural landscape of Harlem, where the rhythm of the city changed to the pulse of jazz. The Cotton Club stood as a haunting symbol of the era's glamour and its deep-seated irony. Operated by the notorious gangster Oni Madden, the club served as a front for the distribution of bootleg alcohol during the years of Prohibition. Here, the legendary Duke Ellington led orchestras that played late into the night, creating a sound that would define the musical identity of the century. The irony of the Cotton Club lay in its segregated doors, where black performers of immense genius played for audiences that were strictly white. Outside the club's walls, the Harlem Renaissance flourished with a raw and authentic energy as poets, painters, and thinkers explored the depth of the black experience. Despite the fame they achieved on the stage, these performers were often barred from the very seats their audiences occupied. It was a place where the brilliance of creativity collided with the harsh realities of racial division, creating a tension that fueled some of the greatest art in American history.
Watch where you're going with that. Clear the way, fresh mackerel coming through. We need more ice over here.
At the center of the city's movement stood Grand Central Terminal, a temple of transit that celebrated the power of the railroad. Beneath a magnificent ceiling painted with the constellations of the zodiac, 250,000 commuters surged through the concourse every single day. The air was filled with the echoes of departure announcements and the steady hum of a metropolis in motion. It was a space designed with the grandeur of a cathedral, where the mundane act of traveling was elevated to a ritual of civic importance. Inside the terminal, the hierarchy of the city was on full display, from the wealthy businessmen brokering deals in the dining rooms to the porters hauling heavy trunks through the tunnels. The iconic four-sided clock served as a silent witness to the countless reunions and farewells that occurred beneath its golden stars. Grandeur and grit coexisted under that celestial vault, reflecting the duality of a city that was both beautiful and unforgiving. It was the gateway through which the energy of the continent flowed into the narrow confines of Manhattan.
All right, keep it steady now. Going down slowly. Watch that corner.
While the elite slept, the Fulton Fish Market awakened on the edge of the East River long before the first light of dawn. The cobblestones ran slick with ice and brine as vendors shouted over crates of oysters, striped bass, and lobsters harvested from the Atlantic. This was the raw, working-class heart of New York, an unglamorous but essential machine that fed the hungry metropolis. Here, the elegance of the skyscrapers felt worlds away, replaced by the smell of the sea and the cold reality of manual labor.
We're buying at the open. It's crashing! Sell it all! Hold the line, it's going
The market
back up.
was also a place where organized crime tightened its control, weaving itself into the very fabric of the city's economy. Every transaction and every shipment carried the hidden tax of the underworld, illustrating the corruption that often accompanied rapid urban growth. It was a site of intense physical struggle, where men worked in the freezing dark to ensure the city's restaurants were stocked by sunrise. The Fulton Fish Market was a reminder that the vertical empire of Manhattan was built upon the backs of those who labored in the shadows. Spanning the river like a giant lattice of steel, the Queensboro Bridge served as the gateway to expansion for a growing population. It funneled a constant stream of trains, cars, and pedestrians toward the booming boroughs that lay beyond the crowded core of Manhattan. As the population of Queens surged in the 1920s, the bridge became a vital artery, carrying the daily tide of ambition outward. It was a feat of engineering that symbolized the physical connection between the old world and the new suburban dream. Crossing the bridge offered a unique perspective of the skyline, a view of the city as a singular, breathing organism. The steel structure vibrated with the energy of the thousands who traversed it, each person carrying their own hopes for a better life in the expanding landscape. The bridge represented the inevitable spread of the city, the way New York refused to be contained by the limits of a single island. It was a monument to the restless spirit of a people who were always looking toward the next horizon. In the heart of Midtown, the Flatiron Building
Careful with the
defied the
cornice here, we
skeptics
need to
with
match
its
the
narrow,
original profile.
triangular frame and
I'll
daring
use the smaller
design.
chisel.
It sculpted the skyline at the intersection of Fifth Avenue and Broadway, acting as a prow for the great ship of Manhattan. Gusts of wind whipped around its sharp edges, creating a phenomenon that drew curious onlookers to the street corners. Despite its unusual shape, the building became an enduring symbol of early skyscraper innovation, proving that beauty could be found in the most unconventional forms.
I must say,
The Flatiron
second
was
act
more than
promises
just an
to be
office building.
spectacular.
It was a cultural
Absolutely
icon
divine. To
that
the
captured the
director.
imagination
Here,
of
here.
photographers and artists. Its presence changed the way people perceived the city, encouraging a move toward more creative and functional uses of space. Even a century later, it remains a testament to the era of daring architecture, where the limits of what was possible were constantly
All
being
right, lift
pushed.
together now. Watch that corner.
It stood as a
Bring it
silent
straight back to the
sentinel,
crane.
watching over the
Easy,
transition of New York from a collection of neighborhoods into a global powerhouse.
I need 2 more pallets of the coffee bags moved to section
South of the
4.
Midtown bustle,
Copy that.
behind the
Moving
massive
now.
Corinthian columns of the New York Stock Exchange, the fever of speculation reached its peak. The trading floor was a scene of controlled chaos, where traders shouted orders and ticker tape fluttered like
Fresh bread,
snow
get your
across the
fresh bread
marble
here.
floors. Fortunes were multiplied overnight on borrowed money, fueled
Hey,
by
don't
an
forget the milk.
unwavering belief that the market would never stop rising. This was the engine of the 1920s, the source of the euphoria that
Here's your
defined
change,
the
Mr.
decade's
Henderson.
Thank
economic
you kindly,
landscape.
Mary. Best bread in Brooklyn.
Always a pleasure. Now, what can I get for you, dear?
Don't forget the bread, where'd you go out?
However, by the end of the decade, this optimism began to blur into a dangerous mania that foreshadowed a catastrophic collapse. The wealth being generated was often ethereal, built on a foundation of debt and unrealistic expectations. Yet, throughout the boom and the eventual bust, the exchange endured as the central stage of global capitalism. It was the place where the dreams of a nation were quantified in numbers, and where the fragility of human greed was ultimately laid bare for the world to see.
All right, you can come in. Welcome to the club.
Finally, we look back at the original Pennsylvania Station, a structure modeled after the grandeur of ancient Roman baths. It welcomed
is the
travelers
bee's
with
knees,
vast
isn't it?
marble halls and radiant light, offering a sense of dignity to everyone who entered its gates. Beneath the majestic architecture lay the soot and secrets of industrial travel, the machinery that made the modern world function. To enter the city through Penn Station was to feel as though you were entering like a god, a sentiment
this is it.
that
Keep
would
it
be
quiet.
lost to history.
They're on to us, boss.
Ready on the door. On my count. 1, 2.
All right, everybody stay where you are. This is a raid.
The eventual demolition of this architectural marvel in the 1960s would ignite
You're all
fierce
under
preservation battles, but in the 1920s, it was at the height of its glory. It stood as a temple to the idea that public spaces should be magnificent,
All right, keep
reflecting the
moving.
collective pride
Into the
of a
wagon
rising
now.
nation.
Let them go.
Its loss remains a
This is
scar
an
on the soul
outrage.
of the city, a reminder that even the most beautiful creations are vulnerable to the passage of time and the demands of progress. The memory of the original Penn Station serves as a haunting echo of an age that valued grandeur above all else.
Try the squid. It's the best tonight.
I'll take 3, please.
As we reflect on New York City in the Jazz
really think you
Age,
could finish the
we see
whole
a
thing
mirror of
yourself?
our own modern struggles and triumphs. The 1920s
It is
taught us
crazy,
that progress is
absolutely
often a
crazy.
double-edged sword,
you found
bringing
the
both
weakness
incredible innovation and profound
me long enough,
inequality.
old friend.
We learn that wealth is
game is still
fleeting,
yours.
but the art and architecture we create can speak for us long after we are gone. The lesson we can draw from this era is to value the substance beneath the spectacle, and to recognize the humanity of those who labor in the shadows of our greatest achievements. Thank you for joining us on this historical exploration, and we wish you and your family great health and prosperity in the days ahead.
Second floor,
If you
home
enjoyed
goods and
this deep
appliances.
dive into the heart
Third
of the
floor,
1920s,
ladies ready to wear.
please do not
Going
forget to
up.
subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more stories. Your support allows us to continue bringing the past to life through the power of narrative and technology.
This hat really suits me, doesn't it? And this fabric feels absolutely luxurious.
Tickets, get your tickets here. 2 on the aisle, folks. Right this way, gentlemen. Don't be left out in the cold.
The saxophone sounds incredible from down here.
All right. This pie is exactly what I needed.
Best slice in the city. You look exhausted.